welcome. Thank you. Welcome to the first episode of Springfield Daily Live. I'm your host, Eric Broughton. I'm an entrepreneur and online startup founder here in Springfield. I hope you've heard of my work. Thank you so much again for coming. Tonight is our first ever pop-up event where we'll be going around every month to different locations in Springfield and talking with incredible people. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Springfield Daily Live. Without further ado, and I know you don't want to hear me talk, that's not why you're watching online and that's not why you're here. We want to talk with two awesome people that I have with me today. I want to introduce first my co-host and friend. We met a few years ago on a couple projects and we have been friends ever since, and I'm super happy he even agreed to do this. So let's give it up for my first and my co-host, Dave Kelm. Thank you. Go ahead and have a seat.
Actually, I'm going to sit down here.
Okay.
Because, you had mentioned some stomach issues earlier.
Yep.
So the other thing, though, I wanted to mention about Innovate Springfield, by the way, the offices are amazing. There's a sign in the green room. I'm not sure if you had seen that, Eric. Mm-hmm. It said that if there was any issues, that we should let staff know. So I wasn't sure if it was Francisco or you that I need. There's a urinal that's running constantly.
We have that problem all the time.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure someone knows. I mean, because if you don't know about that, that's a huge water loss.
Exactly.
It's awful.
And with the issues right now at CWOP, I'm sure that is something that they would like to know about.
Yes, someone should
I'm not paying that bill.
Someone should be notified, Eric. Someone should be notified.
Yep. So tell us a little bit more about you,
So, obviously, this is kind of the first pop-up thing I've ever done. I've used to be, back in the day, people who did startups were just called, they had companies. So I've had a lot of companies. Also, people who are serial entrepreneurs now used to be folks who just couldn't hold a job. So that was me as well. So I think I am pretty cutting edge in having multiple jobs and starting over and over again. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to talk to people who actually know how to do it, who actually know what they're doing, and who actually have been successful. I am an attorney. I've had a radio talk show. I've had a communications firm. I have been a writer for a couple of different publications locally and will soon be writing for the Springfield Daily if I ever figure out what I want to write about and Eric ever gives me editorial approval, little things. So we're just having fun. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Thank you so much for being on here, and thank you so much for setting up our first guest, one of your friends and an awesome business person in this town. I'll go ahead and let you introduce her.
Sure. So our first guest tonight, which is terribly exciting for me, we've been friends for a number of years. She, I think, is an inspiration to a lot of other business folks in town. She's an inspiration to me in terms of what she does and how she goes about her life. And she doesn't do it in a overly boastful or a way that broadcasts herself. And I think that it's great that she's with us tonight so that we can talk with her and we can learn from her. Some of our viewers can learn from her. She has started a number of successful businesses and has a one-of-a-kind philanthropy, a charitable organization that she funds with one of her businesses. Michelle Chumlin is the President and CEO of District 23 with 2 locations, one in Springfield, one in Rochester, as well as the President and Chairman of the Cochlear Implant Awareness Foundation, which she'll tell you a little bit about. And even before all of that, she started and still owns eWebSmart, which is a web development concern, social media business. And I am more than pleased to be able to introduce my friend Michelle Chumlin.
Thank you so much. That was a really nice introduction.
Did you like that? I just didn't really know when to stop, to be honest with you.
To do that, right?
That's right, exactly.
So how do you two know each other? I'm sure there's probably a big story. Maybe some of them we don't want to talk about on camera, but...
I don't know.
Glenn Hodes.
Yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about Glenn.
Yeah.
Sorry, Glenn. Yeah, Glenn Hodis is a good friend of mine. Glenn does a lot of campaign politics, and I don't even really know how you know him.
So I met him way back when. So as you mentioned, I have a website design firm, and I founded that in 1999. So Glenn
was hardly an internet in
it's been a while.
1999, yeah.
But Glenn contacted me years ago, and we've remained friends. But that's how I met you,
Sure.
is through him.
That's right.
And then through
That's
the
right.
years,
Yeah.
we formed a deeper relationship.
Yes.
And so I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for thinking of me.
No, I mean, when Eric and I talked about doing this and talked about, bringing in thought leaders from Springfield, your name came right to the top. So we're very happy that you're here. So
Thank you.
to start things off, I mean, talk to us a little bit about eWebSmart in 1999. I mean,
Okay.
this is, I think I had email in 1999. I mean, I'm pretty sure I
Maybe
did.
AOL dial-up.
Oh God, yeah. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And so how did you decide this was something that was going to take off?
Well, so I, didn't go to school to start eWebSmart. I didn't go to school to get into the website design business. I actually went to Taylorville High School, graduated in 1991, and went to Eastern. And I thought, well, I'm not sure what I want to do. So I started in the business program. And then I didn't really like that very much. So then I switched, and I thought, well, I'll be a teacher. So anyway, to make a long story short, I went to Eastern for a semester, came back, went to Lincoln Land, and then went back to Eastern, ended up with my education degree. So my whole plan, and I had it perfectly figured out, Dave, when I was 21 years
teacher.
old, was that I was going to come back to Springfield. I was dating Joel at the time, who's now my husband of 21
Yes,
years.
yes.
And we were not going to have kids for 7 years. I had it completely figured out.
Did you write that down? I mean, was that like a plan? Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So I taught at Auburn my first year, and then my second year I transferred and taught at 186, 7th and 8th grade language arts. Absolutely loved it. And it was during my third year of teaching that Joel and we got married in June. And in September, I found out I was pregnant. So I was like, oh, dang. Like, here, we're just newlyweds. So, yes, scratch that 7-year plan off the list. So anyway, to make a long story short, a few weeks, 12, 13, 14 weeks into the pregnancy, I started having some preterm labor issues, but I went deaf. During my pregnancy. So Joel married me hearing, and I was a school teacher, and things were great. But all of a sudden, I was unable to teach because I
Was that a result of the pregnancy, or
so
was that?
they don't know.
They don't know.
They
Okay.
think so.
Okay.
But they don't know. So, and that was back, 1998. So at that point, like 97. So genetic testing, all that stuff, like we ended up having that done, but it came back inconclusive
Wow.
because they really hadn't refined anything. So to make a long story short, Ellie, who is now 20, was born 3 months premature, and
Oh my gosh.
she was born deaf.
Oh.
So you want to talk about just all these whammies,
Right,
So
right.
here I am, a teacher.
Right.
I get married. I'm a newlywed, and then all of a sudden I can't hear. Then we have this baby. I'm a first-time mom. She can't hear me. It was just a real terrible time
Right.
in our lives.
So you have to take the plan,
Yes,
crumple it up,
I did.
toss it over your shoulder, and start over.
I did. And so that wasn't very easy. My first situation was to figure out what our options were for our child. So wanted to figure out, what were we going to do? What were our choices in deafness? Would we, send her to the Illinois School for the Deaf? Would we learn how to sign with her? Would we do cued speech? All these different things. So we did a lot of research trying to figure out what we were going to do, and we found out about technology called a cochlear implant. In the meantime, as we were doing all this research and trying to figure things out, I realized I needed to go back to school because I could no longer hear, and if you can't hear, it's real hard to be a teacher. So I didn't know sign language, and so I took a leave in absence from the school district, and University of Illinois in Champaign was offering an online master's degree program. So it was their first program ever.
Wow.
So I thought, well, you know what? There was a group of teachers from 186 that approached me and said, hey, I think you can do this. Like, why don't you do this with us? So I said, all right, that sounds good. So while we were figuring things out, I got my degree in computer technology and education. And as part of the program, and in order for us to graduate with our master's degrees, we had to create a website. So this was back when you were talking about
Right, yeah.
AOL, there was no Google, Yahoo was just a baby.
So it's just like Pong
Yes.
on the website.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway.
Nobody
so-
knows what Pong is, by the way. Did you notice that? Nobody.
Right,
Not one
yes.
person.
No, yes,
That
they're
was
too
nice.
young.
Thank you. Okay.
So-
Jerks.
That was when, so that would have been 99 is when I started eWebSmart. It kind of happened, I did my husband Joel's website for his car dealership, Chumlin Laketown Automotive.
That's a good plug, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
Might be a
I
future
did,
sponsor, Eric. Write that down.
oh yeah, he wouldn't be he'd be nervous wreck to come on here. But anyway, then I did like Hallmark website, and then one site led to another, and so that was 20 years ago.
Wow.
We now do logo development, website development. We do business in all 50 states.
Wow.
And I love it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's one of those things where it was not what I had planned, but it's been an amazing, beautiful ride.
So how many employees do you have locally then with eWebSmart?
So we have, oh goodness, 8 or 9.
And then do you utilize services from vendors or employees
so
elsewhere?
So we have a total of about 18, subcontractors
Sure.
and that sort of thing. So I've got designers in London that have been with me for 10 or 12 years that I have never talked to on the phone, that I've never Skyped or done, anything live.
And
it's
you don't want to, because of the teeth issue.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So anyway, yeah, that's,
So eWebSmart trundles along,
yep.
and you guys are trying to figure out the
to
hearing
do.
thing,
Yes.
right? With you
Yes.
and Ellie.
Yep.
And cochlear implant technology
Yes.
is continuing to develop.
It is.
And so, when did you choose to undergo a cochlear procedure?
So once we found out that I was a candidate and Ellie was a candidate, she was the second youngest child to get the cochlear implant. We flew all over to different doctors. It was a new procedure really back then. It was introduced in the late 70s, but it really, it was fairly new
Sure.
in terms of, children being implanted and that sort of thing. So we ended up at Champaign at Carl Clinic because at the time Springfield wasn't doing cochlear implants. So Ellie got hers in 99. I followed in 2000. And then in 2005, we'd been on the waiting list for 5 years for bilateral cochlear implants. So when the FDA
both
approved,
sides.
yes, so
Okay.
I'm bionic. So
Okay.
I can take this off and show you. So when I take this off, I cannot hear. I have one on both sides. So
Okay.
I'm profoundly deaf in the shower or when my kids are on my nerves or Joel is irritating me. I
Right.
take my
Nice.
cochlear
It's just
implants
like-
off.
yeah.
But anyway, I hooked this over. They go in and they open your skull and they put a computer chip inside your head behind the mastoid bone.
Wow.
And then this delivers sound. So my ear doesn't work. That magnet stimulates the electrode array. And then I have a microphone and the microphone delivers sound. So I can use my cell phone. I
Yeah.
can, I live a very great life.
Sure.
And, I'm obviously still hearing impaired, but much better than the alternative. So in 2005, when the FDA approved the bilateral cochlear implants, Ellie and I were the first mother and daughter team to have surgery together on the same day on our second year.
Oh my gosh.
So that was pretty amazing.
Okay, so that is amazing. And
I got to stop you.
Yeah,
because
please, yeah.
Some people online are probably now just tuning in, so they have no idea what they're watching. So,
Oh, yeah.
For everyone who's watching online, you're watching the Springfield Daily Live Show. It's episode 1.0. I'm Eric Broughton. I'm here with Dave Kelm and Michelle Chemlin.
You got it?
And we're talking about business. We're talking about implants. We're talking about technology. We're talking about stories. So, Springfield Daily Live, episode 1.
absolutely. So continuing the conversation then, so you get the implants.
Yes.
And then decide,
So
we were so fortunate.
Yes.
We should
So
figure out something
in,
else.
In 1999, when we were doing all this research and the internet wasn't very big, my biggest struggle was, I'm smart and I'm resourceful, so I could figure out the medical side of things. And we found out the doctors that did cochlear implants, but I was more concerned with dealing with the emotional aspect of being a latent deaf adult, losing my identity, my hearing, and having to start my career over, and then of course being a newlywed and then having a daughter that couldn't hear me and I couldn't hear her. So I started a blog back in '99, and it was called ilovela.com. It's still out there. I haven't updated it forever, but anyway, and so it was my outlet to connect with other people that had gone through similar experiences as our family, and also really kind of a way to provide hope to other moms, other dads out there, other people that had lost their hearing late in life. So one person that I helped led to another, and a second, and a third, and then over the years, from '99 to 2005, I literally helped thousands of people. And that year, when I got the cochlear implant, it was about mid-year of 2005. I woke up one morning and I said to my husband, I'm going to start a nonprofit today. And he's like, Michelle, you wear me out. Like, what are you talking about? You're going to start.
Okay, I'm going to work now.
Right. Yes. Like,
thanks.
So I said, you just watch. So anyway, it was that day I contacted my attorney back then, my accountant, and I said, I have a calling and a passion to really be able to help more people hear and understand the benefits of cochlear implant technology. It's not for everybody, but for those that it is an option.
So the foundation now does what for people?
So we give use but not abuse cochlear implant equipment to needy recipients. We're the only foundation in the world that does what we do. We work with Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, all the children's institutes throughout the United States. So we also receive donations from all the big hospitals. So they can't give outright donations to patients, but because all of our services are provided free of charge, they are able to donate to us. This year alone, we've given the gift of sound to 112 individuals and $697,000 of equipment that we've given out this year alone.
That's insane. I mean, that's incredible. So that's just the equipment. That's not the procedure. That's just the equipment.
Correct. So the procedure is expensive, but one of the things that I'm very proud about is back in, before 2005, I worked with Heather Whitestone, Miss Deaf USA, and we actually went to Washington, D.C. to get insurance companies and talk to them about why it is such a benefit to have a cochlear implant and why they should cover it. Because we had to appeal all of our surgeries. Back then, the insurance companies did not cover it. It was more like an elective procedure, and they didn't see the necessity for it. But anyway, so we got that passed. And, it's been really an amazing experience.
So part of what we're doing with Eric and Springfield Daily and this Springfield Daily Live is talking to folks about their businesses, right?
Yes.
So now you've got this philanthropy, you've got this nonprofit, and a lot of nonprofits raise money with golf outings, or they raise money with direct appeal, or they raise money with phone calls, or however else. You somehow along the way come up with District 23. So what is that?
I had done fundraising pretty much by myself, and that kind of got exhausting, doing events all the time. And I had talked to several of my friends about, I've got to come up with a more creative approach. A very dear friend of mine, Brandy Lazowski, came to me and she said, Michelle, I think that we can do the Socks for Sound program where we create these socks for sound.
Okay.
So we can create these Christmas stockings and we can paint them and we can sell them, and then all the money can go back to the foundation. And I said, well, that's great, Brandy, but I am not a do-it-yourselfer. I hire everybody to do stuff like that. That's not me. I'm not creative like that. So she said, just watch. I'm going to help you organize this. So one thing led to another, and we made one stocking, and then we made two, and all of a sudden this was December 5th, 2012. And we got this demand. It kind of went crazy on Facebook, and all of a sudden we had more of a demand than what we could cut and sew and paint. So we put an ask out there. We said, hey, we need other women to help us. I had women all over Springfield, Illinois, and the surrounding towns cutting and painting and sewing socks in the month of December. Our first year, we sold 375 socks, $25 each. But it was winter, and it was in the middle of winter, and it was freezing in all these garages. So I said, Brandy, we got to find a permanent location, and I think this is something we can do all year long. And she said, yeah, I agree. So I called my friend Mark Roberts. You know
Yeah,
Mark
I do.
Roberts?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
He and he's a really good friend of mine. We started another company together called Alerts Made Easy. It's now SMS Elephant. But anyway, in text message clubs, I said, Mark, I know you have a lot of property in town. Do you have any property that I could, possibly rent for this fundraising thing that I'm doing? So that
Socks.
was 14
Socks.
That was 1413 South
Okay.
MacArthur, where District 23 is now.
Yeah.
So I rented the facility, and we were upstairs in the loft. Brandy comes back to me, and she says, Michelle, I've got another idea. I think you need to start a retail store. And I said, I have absolutely no interest in a retail store. I don't know anything about running a retail store. And she said, we can do this, and I'll help you. So anyway, at that point, another friend, Laura Gears, jumped in and said, well, I want to help you too. So to make a long story short, I said, what the
Right.
heck? So we hopped, that was in December, we signed the lease. We hopped on a plane in January, and we opened the doors for District 23 in April. And
So you hopped on a plane to do what?
go to market to
go to market.
buy stuff.
Right.
And how I got money to do that was 5 years before, the United Postal Service, their auxiliary, had done a little fundraising for us. And at the end of the year, they invited me to New York, and they said, we have a check for you. And I was thinking, it's going to be a $600 check, or, I had no expectations.
Definitely
at all.
worth a trip to New York for
It
$600.
was amazing. Like the gift that they gave me.
They gave you a big gift.
They did.
Good.
So that sat, it just sat. I, put it in savings, and so it was sitting there. And I called Lucretia Nobles, who was the one that orchestrated the whole Postal Service doing this fundraiser for me. And I said, I have this idea. What do you think? She said, it's amazing. Do it. Go for it. So that's how we got the seed money. And one thing has led to another.
So you just go to market, and I've never been to market. I don't know, Eric, if you
It's
know.
overwhelming.
What? Yeah,
It's
where
still
is? What
overwhelming.
is it? I mean, where is it?
So
This mystical
Atlanta, New
place.
York, Dallas, they're all over.
And you just go, you buy stuff.
Yes. So, and that, and that's literally, it's kind of like what you think's going to sell. It's a little bit like gambling. So, the
Sure.
stuff that, you think is just amazing and awesome, you get it home and nobody else likes it except you. So you got to hope you really
what are
like
some
it.
of your favorite things to buy?
So-
personally, or maybe for your
Okay.
customers?
So when we started out, we were home decor. And, but that was hard because as females, moving furniture around and having to restage the store all the time, and we were not open full time back then. So we started integrating some fashion into, and it was kind of by chance, into the stores, and it started selling out. And so anyway, we did switch after about 2 years from home decor to fashion. So my favorite things to buy are clothes, jewelry, accessories, shoes. Like I love anything that's related to fashion.
Do you buy from individual sellers, or do you buy from distributors, or a little
So
mix?
I'll go to market, and then I now have partnerships throughout the United States. But so manufacturers, so we buy directly from the manufacturers that sell to us. So there are some brands that are protected and zip coded off, others are not. But we have a variety of items in our store, a little bit of home decor, but mainly it's women's fashion, gifts, and accessories.
Okay, awesome. So let's take a little turn away from the business, and let's talk a little bit of social media. Let's talk
All right.
some technology stuff. I know you're a founder of an online media company and website development. So as just a person, what are some of your favorite apps? Do you play games?
Oh,
Do you
no,
use
I don't
Google
have time
a
to play
lot? Do you
games.
use-
No, I don't.
Are you on social media a lot? What are your
So
days like
I
when it comes
do-
to what can you use on your phone?
So I'm a huge fan of Facebook, and that's really I'm 44. That's Facebook is great. However, one of the other social media sites that I use all the time is Snapchat. So it took me a while to get used to that, but it's the only way I can communicate with my two daughters. So I have a 20-year-old, and then I have an 18, almost
you can
18
see when they
year old.
see the message.
Yes,
So, at least you know you
oh,
can text them
for
after
sure.
and say, hey, you saw that, didn't you?
Yes. So, and they're great, but my 20-year-old, she wouldn't really ever reply to my text messages or Facebook messages, but she would snap all the time. So that was really, I did it mainly so that I could, talk to her. So we talk every day through Snapchat.
Snap, yep.
But Dave was asking me that earlier. He's like, well, what apps? Really? There's all different kinds of apps I use. Productivity apps, different, fitness apps. I use a Fitbit app. Things that I do like for when I work out. But one of my favorite things to do is for me to, I love watching Shark Tank and The Profit. So The Profit's my favorite show, so I will go back and like rewatch episodes of that. Marcus Lemonis, I think, is amazing. I've learned so much from him.
Yep.
So just him, interviewing all these business owners, and if I can take a little bit of information here and there and work that into my own businesses and organizations, it's great.
That's awesome. I agree. Me and my partners watch The Profit all the time, and we have that
Love
same
it.
philosophy. If you can watch a whole episode and find one or two
Exactly.
pieces out of there and then incorporate that in your own business,
Yes.
or maybe like your client's business or something like
Yes.
that. So,
Marcus happens to be like, I think we're best friends. He doesn't have any idea who I am.
same
but
here. Well,
anyway,
I
think-
commented on
yes.
his Facebook, and he liked it, I think, a few times on
Yes.
the live thing, so we're friends now.
Right,
So,
exactly. He and I are the same age, so I don't know. He's definitely an inspiration.
Awesome. Yep. So, if I remember correctly from just looking at what you're doing with District 23, you launched a new website. Is
We
that
did.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, as a business owner, as kind of you have your brick and mortar, and you're kind of balancing your physical locations and maybe growing some more of those, which you have announcement tonight about that
Sure.
too, with your new location.
Yes.
How do you see the future of the brick and mortar retail and balancing an online platform? And do you have any kind of extra incentives that kind of entice people to buy online, but also kind of have your brick and mortar involved,
Sure.
like free shipping or free exchanges at your store?
So obviously, when we started our business 5 years ago, we had a website. And then I didn't have the staff back then that I have today. So we have a very loyal Facebook following. We have about 75,000 fans, and that continues to grow every day. And so we sell primarily on Facebook, but of course, all of our fans have been saying, we really want to be able to shop 24/7 and online. So we finally had the staffing available to be able to go live with our website. But to go back to your question, we have 2 locations, one in Springfield, one in Rochester, Illinois, and then our third e-commerce site, we do have a location for that as well, but none of the 3 locations sell the same thing.
Okay.
So what you get online, you can't get in Rochester, and what you get in Rochester, you can't get in Springfield.
Okay.
So if our customers are local or from the surrounding areas, the benefit to them on shopping on our website is that they can get something that they couldn't find in either store.
Okay, cool.
But we do offer free shipping over $99. And then, of course, if you are local, we can do local delivery or pickup at either store. That's free.
Okay.
And then we do, so if you buy something online, you can also return it to either store with,
Okay.
no hassles and no issues.
Awesome. So I'm another fellow startup business owner in Springfield. Just started my full-time business a couple years ago.
Okay.
How hard is it, do you think, to start a business in Springfield?
You don't have to.
You know what?
Maybe nowadays to maybe back then. Do you
So-
see any differences
so
when your friends
I-
are starting
no.
their own businesses?
I feel like business, the bottom line is it's about relationships.
Okay.
So my whole life has been about relationships. So it was natural for me to start my businesses here because I have so many connections with the local community. I have so many relationships that, and I'm passionate. So I feel like, if you're passionate about what you do, that your success will follow. I mean, I work really hard, but also our community is amazing in terms of being, it's big, but it's not too big, and the support that I've received for all of from my nonprofit to my website business to my stores has just truly been incredible. That I can't imagine leaving Springfield because they have been so loyal to me.
Awesome. So when you look back, it was probably an up and down journey, I'm sure.
It's every
Hopefully
day.
way more
That
ups
up-
than downs. But can you think back of maybe just one time or one thing you learned now that if you knew back then, maybe you would have done it a little bit differently?
Well, one of the things that I'm not scared to take risks. So I've always been kind of, I'll jump off the deep end and then figure out how to swim. So as I get older, I find myself being just a little bit more gun shy, but I still go for it. So I don't live my life with regrets. I don't have a lot of regrets.
Awesome.
For those things that I do wrong, and there's a lot of things I do wrong, I try to take that as a learning experience so that I can not make those mistakes again and make better choices for the future.
Okay, awesome.
So one of the things that then you just jumped into with both feet is this new acquisition.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the new building.
Okay. I'm so excited about it, and it's.
Is this a new announcement?
It is a new announcement.
Okay.
I mean, all my customers know, but
Yeah.
like a lot of people don't know me, and so it would be a new announcement to them. So we've been in our Springfield location for 5 years, and it's only 823 square feet. It's teeny tiny. It's the size of a stamp, and a lot of days, we might have 30, 40 customers in there at the same time. It's crazy. We have a really loyal following of women here in town. So the wardrobe, which is located really just kind of across the street from us, has been a building favorite of mine for 20 years. Anyway, I have the opportunity, and it was presented to me that it became for sale, and it was a private sale. It happened very quickly. So we will be moving our Springfield store across the street to the wardrobe, which is on South Grand, in February or March. So we're going from 823 square feet to about 5,000 square feet.
Awesome.
So it's bigger, a lot bigger, but it will also house some of our foundation equipment, as well as our e-commerce facility will be joining it. So yes.
Okay.
So
So-
we'll fill the space pretty quick, I
Okay.
think.
So moving to a new location, old location. Will...
So old location, we have plans for that to keep it within the organization. So we're still figuring out all the details
Okay.
on that, but I will keep that. I will
Awesome.
keep that
Awesome.
facility.
Awesome. We are just now getting about out of time. I'm pretty sure we probably could have talked for another 30 minutes. This is
Absolutely.
Oh, I don't take a
Absolutely.
breath. You haven't figured that out.
So yeah, I think you breathed a few times during that, which was perfect.
Yeah,
Dave,
yeah.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys, everyone. Thank you guys, everyone, for watching. You can follow us on Facebook, all social media platforms, Springfield Daily. Visit our website, springfielddaily.com/live, to go ahead and watch these shows. We're going to be around Springfield every month on location, on site with these pop-up events. Dave, Michelle, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Woo!